Hey, this is day 9 of building a society of AI agents, and recently we've been exploring an idea around LLM X. Kelim's going to explain a little bit more about it.
So we have these terms, user experience, which is, it refers to how usable software is usually. And then there's another related one like developer experience. And that's like how easy it is for developers to use a framework or a library or something. I'm finding a useful one to be the large language model experience. The idea behind this is it's kind of similar to the user experience, but it's from a large language model's perspective. So when you're making an MCP server, it actually exposes these tools, right? These tools are ways for the agents to interact with the world. So they're kind of like its interface. We're all familiar with this scenario where you're talking to ChatGPT for hours and it just starts to get stupid. Like we know that, when you put too many things in the context window, it just starts to get worse. So one element of it is, the context window management. But another element for it is also the tools themselves. So these tools, these are things like, in our case, we have one for sending a message, right? The thing with sending a message is like, it's not immediately apparent just from its name, what it does and how you use it. So it has a description and it has the parameters, and these are just like what you need to give this tool when you're trying to use it. The description of the parameters and the tool itself is actually going to make a big difference for how the large language models, when they're acting as agents, going to use these tools.
It'd be interesting if you could A to B test different descriptions and see how
that's a really good idea. Yeah, you could swap them out, and if you have like a benchmark. So it is testable, which is actually which does distinguish it from user experience, to be fair. Designing tools is kind of a lot like designing APIs. So when you're designing APIs, you still need to consider like the descriptions of each API. If you're designing for AWS, for example, you still need to make it easy for developers to use. When you're designing APIs, usually what you'd do is you'd have something like a max results, and this would be something that the developer would set because they'll think, okay, we only need 50 of these, or like we can handle 50 of these exactly. But large language models aren't exactly familiar with how much of something they can handle. So saying max results from something like get agents, it's not necessarily going to mean much to the large language model how likely it is to be overwhelmed by that.
Okay, thank you. I'll see you in the next one.